Hey folks, it's Rob. Welcome back. We're continuing on with our series on the Monstrous Compendium Appendix for the Mystara setting. We're still in D and we're going to be in D for a bit. We're on page 25, which has Deep Glaurant. We have a nice picture down there of a gargoyle-ish looking creature. It's Yeah, I mean, as always, everything seems just a little faded in the scan compared to what I'm holding in my hand. Everything's just a little bit richer in my hand. But this is a reasonable representation of the actual page. And uh, I'm going to be upfront with you. We basically have this monster and the next monster, and then we have quite a section on dragons, which I feel like should be its own episode. And then the next monster is a two-pager, and then the next monster is a two-pager, and then we have the last D monster. So what we're going to do is probably just do two today and have a short video, but I will try to make it up for you by having an extra long dragon video next time. Okay? So the Deep Glaurant, climate/terrain subterranean, frequency very rare, organization solitary or clan, activity cycle night, diet carnivore, intelligence low 5 to 7, treasure type V or U in its layer, alignment is chaotic neutral. The number appearing is 1d2, so however you want to work out, basically flipping a coin. Armor class 4, movement 9. We have a SW9, which is that swinging? Checking. Swimming. It's swimming. And then they have a glide, which is a 12 with E next to it. And I was reminded in the last video that when we're dealing with flight, we have a letter code for the type of just how agile and capable they are as flyers, and E is the least capable. So they have wide turning radiuses and probably aren't that agile flyer, right? Hit dice 7 to hit AC 013. They get 3 attacks. The damage per attack is 2d4 for a claw and 2d4 for the other claw, and a d4 for bite or by weapon. And then they have by weapon and a d4 bite. So we have described here. So we could have. Oh, I get it. So it's either unarmed or it's armed, right? And if it's armed, it gets 2 attacks by weapon and a bite. So, but it gets 2 claws and a bite. Okay. Special attacks are 2 rear claws, 2d4 damage each. Special defenses are darkness. Magic resistance is nil. Their size large, 8 foot tall. Their morale is champion, so not prone to breaking morale. Need some penalties involved. XP value 2,000. These are rare evil predators. These rare evil predators inhabit caverns deep beneath the world's surface. Deep Glaurants are named for their strange gulping call, which they make deep in their throats when excited. If alone or when stalking prey, they are eerily silent. Glaurants are scaly, massively muscled humanoids, ochre to stony gray in color. They stand 8 feet tall, and their 4 limbs end in iron-strong, sharp-nailed claws, which enable them to rake and rend flesh and climb over stones with equal ease. They are capable diggers and have little wings protruding from their shoulders. These wings can be folded flat or sculled with great skill and are used as aids in swimming, climbing, and turning. Turning falls into glides. Glaurants have small, flexible horns on their heads which fold over their ears to protect them against dust and to help them feel along crevices. Interesting. And honestly, I could see how climbing up a surface is how they would prefer to get started flying, right? Instead of trying to launch themselves from the ground, they climb up a wall and then leap off and start gliding, right? Wouldn't be strange. Combat. Silent by active will, Deep Glaurants can cause magical darkness about themselves once every third round. The effect lasts for the entire round. They can see up to 90 feet with infravision and are not bothered by normal or bright light. Glaurants are intelligent enough to arrange rockfall traps and deadly ambushes. They often use magic gained from caches, tomes and victims as weapons against foes, or trade such items when caught at a disadvantage. A favorite attack of a Glaurant is to glide onto prey from above in silence and darkness. In melee, the Deep Glaurant slashes twice with its claws or strikes with two weapons, then delivers a vicious bite. Most favor weapon attacks. However, if the creature successfully rakes an opponent with its front claws and then bites, it gains a successful scrabbling attack. Both rear claws can strike too, inflicting 2d4 points of damage each. Each claw rake requires an attack roll. A Glaurant hunts anything and everything it sees. It fights until seriously wounded or threatened with death, or until its opponent is slain, whereupon it immediately feeds. Habitat/Society. Encounters with these monsters come few and far between, ranging over vast underground regions. Their appetite is voracious and indiscriminately carnivorous. Deep Glaurants are rumored to have cities and a civilization far underground. However, there are no reliable records of encounters with more than two of them at any time. Many scholars doubt the existence of such a civilization, citing the relatively low intelligence displayed by the Deep Glaurants. Others have suggested that only the less intelligent outcasts may have been encountered so far by explorers. Adding confusion to the issue, no young Glaurant specimen has ever been found. The creatures seem to have no goals more complex than finding food and eating it, although in pursuing that end, they will go to elaborate and cunning lengths. Ecology. In the caverns where Glaurants roam, they are feared amongst sapient beings. In some subterranean cultures, they are the basis for tales meant to frighten youngsters into obedience. The Glaurant's ability to create magical darkness comes from a gland located in the creature's hindbrain. A talented alchemist or wizard may be able to carefully remove this gland, and with its fluid contents intact, the oily gray fluid secreted by the Glaurant gland can serve as a special material component in casting the spells Darkness, Continual Darkness, and Darkness 15-foot radius. So used, the fluid doubles either the duration or the radius of the spell. I imagine for Continual Darkness it would be just the radius. Material components are definitely a thing in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, which this is for the second edition of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. The original setting doesn't really call for material components in spells pretty much ever. There may be a special mention on the truly powerful spells of needing requirements of like a material item, but if I recall correctly, because it can get quite blended, my recall of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and say Beckme. But yeah, sometimes there is a sacrificial item such as like a pound of flesh or a pearl, a perfect pearl, right? Um, but those kind of things can be part of your campaign even if they aren't in the rules. It's up to you if you're the DM running a game. Just kind of always have that for that particular spell. Be consistent. Don't be like, I know you guys cast that spell 16 times already, but for now on you're going to need to have a ruby every time you cast a fireball. No. While this fluid is obviously useful, it has never been so valuable as to encourage hunting of the Glaurant. There are more valuable substances for adventurers to win from less challenging foes. Deep Glaurants have disdain for nearly all treasure except magical items. They especially favor weapons and other items with obvious practical applications, and they never keep magical items they cannot wield. So, that'd be the kind of layer trash pile of the things that they don't use, and the things they do use, they would have on them, right? Um, Seems like a straightforward enough kind of creature to implement. Not sure how I would build a story around one or an encounter, more than just like something in a cave. But there is that whole like Deep Glaurant civilization thing that could be a hook, I suppose. We'll move on to our other monster for today, the Diabolous. Once again, seems a little paler than it seems here on the page in front of me, especially at the tip of the head of the trident there. Um, but it's still a sharp enough image, definitely. And boy, if you like satyrs but want them blue and with with long tails, have I got the thing for you? Apparently. So the Diabolous, climate/terrain any, frequency very rare. Their organization is anarchy. Activity cycle any, diet omnivore, intelligence average 8 to 10. Treasure type M, but A in their layer, which can be quite a bit of treasure. It can be. Their alignment is any, but usually chaotic good. Now, if they live in anarchy, I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of lawful diaboli. Just going to throw that out there. Number appearing any, just any, 0 to infinity. Really, just there you go. This entire room is just full of diaboli, stacked like cordwood. Armor class varies, base 9, so they must wield and use equipment, right? Movement 12, see below. Hit dice 1, see below. To hit AC 0, 20, see below. That's actually slightly worse than your typical D&D character, which needs a 19. Number of attacks 1. Damage per attack by weapon or 1d6 bite or 1d4 tail. Probably a tail swipe, Well, that's a thing. Special attacks poison. Special defenses nil. They have a 100% magic resistance. That's our first creature with magic resistance so far. Unless we count the black ball. I guess we count the black ball. I don't know. Let me flip back. Did the black ball actually have magic resistance on it? No, it didn't. It's just that spells don't seem to affect it. But this has 100% magic resistance, so that's certainly something that doesn't show up in regular games of of Dungeons and Dragons. But it is something that can be a monster, effect of a monster in certain cases, and I don't know exactly what adventure these come from. But it could have been described in their monster description from there. So I can't definitively say it's not in that edition. Size, medium. They're about 6 foot tall on average. Their morale is average at 10, so we can also see below. So they'll be probably like a leader effect, since these are clearly intelligent, humanoids. XP value varies with hit dice and abilities. So yeah, it reads a lot like the generic like elf or dwarf entry from the basic set. In that there's a lot of possibilities for variants. So let's get into it. Diaboli, hey, I had the plural correct. Thank you, 4 years of Latin. Diaboli come from a mysterious realm Mystarans call the demiplane of nightmares. Creatures from this realm are the stuff of nightmares for humans and similar beings. Oh yeah, I remember that couple back we had that brain eater, the brain collector. That's it, the brain collector, right? Go back to the B episode for brain collector. It's in the, that mentioned these guys. Yeah. Okay. I remember. That all jogs in my memory. I'll restart. Diaboli come from a mysterious realm Mysterians call the demiplane of nightmares. Creatures from this realm are the stuff of nightmares for humans and similar beings, though most Diaboli are in fact cheerful and well-meaning. Conversely, the Diaboli and other intelligent beings of the demiplane of nightmares regard humans and demi-humans as nightmares incarnate. Adventurous Diaboli discovered gateways to other planes several centuries ago. Since then, many have explored and even settled the worlds beyond their home. Because they feel revulsion towards humans and most normal creatures, Diaboli avoid contact with other life forms. Diaboli are similar in size to humans. Their well-muscled bodies are mauve or lavender. Their feet have hooves like a pig's, and their hands have only 3 fingers with an opposable thumb. Otherwise, the hands look very human. Their pupils are vertical reptilian slits. Yeah, I'd say they got, if you look very close here, they kind of got the goat eye. Most have prominent noses. Their long forked tongues give them enhanced senses of smell. Boy, this is coming across like that. What was that one? It's not Sharon from Clash of the Titans. If you know what I'm talking about, put a comment down there. It's been a moment since I watched the 19, like, was it 81? Clash of the Titans movie. The one with the Harryhausen special effects. Unleash the Kraken, all that kind of stuff, right? Um, sorry, I stopped there in the mid sentence, but I just was struck by reminiscence. If you don't like that, I'm sorry. That's kind of my thing here. If you're new, if you're new to the internet, welcome. But I'll get back to it. I'm sorry. Their long forked tongues give them enhanced senses of smell, hearing, and heat detection. So kind of like a snake, I guess. 2 small horns protrude from the top of their heads, vestigial remains from early evolution. Each Diabolus has a tail just slightly longer than its legs. Diaboli come in at least 3 subraces distinguished by overall hairiness. The bear Diabolus is completely hairless. The common Diabolus has hair like most humans, and males often wear beards as well. The hirsute Diabolus also has thick, curly, goat-like hair over the lower half of its body, as we can see pictured here, thankfully, I guess. Although maybe they wear cod pieces otherwise. This is a family channel, kids. I say that now. I don't know what's going to come. Actually, I don't. I know in classic Monster Manual, there's definitely some less family-friendly imagery. I make no promises. Diaboli come in at least. Well, sorry, we already read that. All Diaboli speak their own language. In addition, they can communicate, twirling and positioning them. In addition, they can communicate, twirling and positioning them in a complex code. Twirling and positioning what? Themselves? Do they dance like bees? I'm going to read the sentence again because, and the one before it. This is literally right here, in case you're wondering. This right here, because I feel like they've missed something. All Diaboli speak their own language. Period. In addition, comma, they can communicate, comma, twirling and positioning them in a complex code. Them what? So, I guess I'm going to go with the B interpretation and just move on. Again, your thoughts below. I'm happy to entertain a discussion. Combat. The abilities of Diabolus mirror those of a human almost exactly. Adventurer Diaboli advance in the same character classes available to humans, suffering the same restrictions and gaining the same abilities. Diabolis boast 2 attacks that humans lack, their bite and their tail. The bite inflicts 1d6 points of damage, the tail inflicts 1d4 points of damage, and injects a mild poison. A creature failing a saving throw versus poison is paralyzed for 1d6 rounds. Diaboli are immune to this poison. So, yes, there's a tiny stinger on the end of the tail, if you look at the image. So it's a bit like a wyvern that way. And, yeah, so it's not a tail swipe. It's definitely just a sting. Okay. Diaboli can wield most weapons, but prefer the trident. A trident also grants a Diabolus speed. By using both its tail and its trident, the Diabolus can turn cartwheels, one after the other, doubling its normal movement rate. The maneuver requires concentration. No other action is possible at the same time. Cartwheeling is as fatiguing as running, and can be maintained for 30 rounds at most. That's not a small amount of time. The Diabolus cannot run normally, but cartwheeling enables it to charge an opponent. Standard charge bonus and penalties apply. And don't forget to set your spear for those fighters out there. The base armor class of a Diabolus is 9, better than the human's 10, which in this edition it would be, owing to the creature's natural defensive skills. Diaboli wear armor similar to that of humans. Their AC is 1 point better than most humans when wearing the same armor. The material effects of the prime material plane have no effect on Diaboli. Similarly, magic cast by Diaboli does not affect creatures native to the prime material plane. Mystaran and Diabolus wizards could trade fireball spells all day, and neither would take a single point of damage. Clever magic use may still be effective indirectly. For example, a wizard could use telekinesis to drop a boulder on a Diabolus' head. Note that Diaboli are affected by spells cast by other Diaboli, and by the magic of other creatures found on the demiplane of nightmares. Brain collectors, fares, nagpas, maleficents, etc. And I'm guessing we're going to run into the fair, nagpa, and maleficent in future episodes. Habitat/society. Most Diaboli believe chaos is the natural disorder of all things, and they try to bring its joys to all who are receptive. They do not generally force their beliefs on those who disagree. The Diaboli have no set organization or rulers, but seem to manage quite well without them. They are an anarchist society where customs, a sense of fair play, and other practices keep their trade moving and society functioning. The Diaboli have little interest in violence. They follow a strict moral code of non-interference. Diabolus warriors become so to protect their communities and out of the spirit of adventure. Few like to kill for killing's sake. Their technology level is primitive, but their philosophy, art, generosity, and tolerance tend to exceed those of the human race. Ecology. Diaboli and humans tend to regard one another with revulsion. However, worldly adventurers, usually those of higher level, often overcome such innate prejudices. And that's all we have to say suddenly about the Diabolus. Well, that was different. As I record this, it is the 20th of December. I will be putting together the next episode, which will focus heavily on dragons, as there are more than a few dragons in this setting that are not described in the regular monster manuals. And that's going to have to be a long episode. Hopefully my voice can handle it. But that means we're finishing this one early today, because I can't just go on with another 5 pages, and I don't want to segregate off part of the dragon section into a separate video. So thank you all very much for joining me today. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope that if you enjoy the Christmas season, that it finds you well and happy and secure. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.